Hello everyone, welcome to the class. On atoms, I have made 4 videos. This is the 5th video. Today we are going to study the expression for the energy of an electron in nth Bohr orbit of hydrogen atom by assuming the expression of radius. To derive this expression, I'll consider an atom with a nucleus of charge plus Ze and an orbit. The r here representing the radius of the orbit. On the orbit there is a electron E and whose mass is m, which is revolving in this orbit with velocity v. Then from this figure we can write, from the figure we can write what is plus Ze here. Plus Ze is a charge of the nucleus. Charge of the nucleus. What is r? Radius of the orbit. Radius of the orbit. What is E? Electron, which is revolving in an orbit. What is m? Mass of an electron. Mass of an electron. Right? Next, v be the velocity of electron. Velocity of an electron which is revolving in an orbit, right? The electron which is revolving in an orbit, it possesses two energies. The first one is kinetic energy due to its motion, and second one potential energy due to the charge present in the nucleus. That's why the electron possesses two energy, and total energy possessed by the electron which is revolving in orbit is given by, that is, total energy is E, which is equal to sum of kinetic energy and potential energy. Let us assume that this is equation number 1. Now for stable orbit, we already know that the centripetal force must be equal to electrostatic force between nucleus and electron. स्टेबल ऑर्बिट का मतलब होता है यहाँ पे, अगर इलेक्ट्रॉन उस ऑर्बिट में सर्कुलर मैनर में रोटेट होना चाहिए तो उसे कुछ फोर्स लगना चाहिए. उस फोर्स के वजह से वो फोर्स कौन सा होता है? सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स होता है. उस सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स को कौन प्रोवाइड करेगा? उस सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स को द इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक फोर्स बिटवीन न्यूक्लियस एंड इलेक्ट्रॉन वो प्रोवाइड करेगा. तब जाके ऑर्बिट क्या हो जाएगा? स्टेबल हो जाएगा. तो चलो, विल राइट द फॉर्मूला फॉर सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स. वी नो द फॉर्मूला फॉर सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स व्हेन वी हैव अ मास, velocity and radius is given by mv square upon r. This is the expression for centripetal force, which is equal to the electrostatic force between nucleus and electron is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Q1 is here plus Ze and another charge E divided by the square of the distance between these two is r, that is square, right? Now here 1r will be get cancelled. Now dividing the above equation on both sides by 2, I'll write here divide by 2 on both sides of the above equation, such that it becomes 1 by 2 mv square, which is equal to 1 by 2. If you multiply here, it becomes 1 by 8. So Ze into Ze is nothing but Ze square upon 8 pi epsilon naught. Here 1 r is remaining, hence I'll write here r. So half mv square is nothing but a kinetic energy, because we generally know that kinetic energy is given by half mv square, such that in place of this half mv square I can write kinetic energy. Therefore this equation becomes kinetic energy is equals to ze square upon 8 pi epsilon naught r. So I'll call this as equation number 1. Similarly we know that for potential energy, what is the potential energy formula? Potential energy is nothing but the amount of work done in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to that point is called potential energy, right? So here that is called electric potential. Here potential energy between two charges is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught ze into E divided by R with sign minus. What this minus sign indicates here? It indicates that the electron is moving in the opposite direction of the electric field produced by the nucleus. That's why minus here we are going to take it. So again, what we can write this formula? Potential energy can be written as minus ze into E is nothing but ze square upon, right, ze square upon 4 pi epsilon naught r, correct? So I'll call this as equation number 2. Now we have equation number this is equation number 2, this is equation number 3. We have equation number 2 and 3, and we'll substitute those equation number 2 and 3 in equation number 1, such that therefore total energy is equals to sum of kinetic energy plus potential energy. What is kinetic energy? Ze square upon 8 pi epsilon naught r plus minus ze square upon 4 pi epsilon naught r, which is equal to ze square upon 8 pi epsilon naught r, 8 pi epsilon naught r minus ze square upon 4 pi epsilon naught r. So among these two I'll take common ze square upon 4 pi epsilon naught r. If I take common here, the remaining things here 1 by 2 and here minus 1. Now 1 by 2 minus 1 is minus 1 by 2. So I'll write here ze square upon 4 pi epsilon naught r. Here 1 by 2 minus 1 is minus 1 by 2. Therefore total energy is equals to minus ze square upon 2 into 4 8 pi epsilon naught r. So this is the expression for energy. Now we have the radius formula also. We have to write that formula. Using that formula we have to derive the equation for energy, right? We know that radius for nth orbit is given by epsilon naught n square h square upon pi m ze square, that we have derived in the last video. We will substitute this one in the energy equation, such that therefore E energy equation becomes minus ze square upon 8 pi epsilon naught. Instead of r I have to substitute here this equation, that is epsilon naught n square h square upon pi m ze square. Here this pi will get cancelled, and minus ze square divided by 8 epsilon naught square n square h square divided by m z square is remaining. Now this denominator of denominator term will go to the numerator. Therefore, the E energy is equal to minus of m into z, z square, e square into e square, e raised to 4 divided by 8 epsilon naught square n square and h square. So this is the final expression for energy of an electron in nth orbit of Bohr, and we can calculate the value of energy of an electron in a first orbit by substituting z is equal to 1 and n is equal to 1. Z is equal to 1 for hydrogen atom, n is equal to 1 for first orbit, and also we know that the values for remaining m is nothing but mass of electron, which is how much? 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. Similarly, h is a Planck's constant whose value is 6.64 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joules second. Similarly, what is the charge of an electron? 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. Correct? Absolute permittivity value is 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. Right? These all values, when you substitute in this equation, we get E, energy in the first orbit of an hydrogen atom, is equals to minus 13.6 electron volt. Then in general we can write energy in nth orbit of hydrogen atom or any atom can be given by minus 13.6 where z square divided by n square electron volt. Now by using this formula we can find out the energy of first orbit, second orbit and third orbit, fourth orbit and up to sixth orbit. We will going to find out here in this video. So energy of first orbit I am going to find out here, that is E1, which is equal to minus 13.6 z square upon n square. This is general formula. Now you substitute z is equal to 1 and n is equal to 1 for first orbit, and which is equal to E1 is equal to minus 13.6 electron volt. Similarly for second orbit, right, for second orbit E2 is equals to minus 13.6 where z is how much? For second orbit z is equal to 1 and n is equal to 2, such that here the 1 by 2 square means 4, which is nothing but minus 13.6 divided by 4 electron volt, which is equals to minus 3.4 electron volt, minus 3.4 electron volt. Similarly for third orbit z is equal to 1 and n is equal to 3. Therefore E3 is equals to minus 13.6 upon 9, which is equal to minus 1.51 electron volt. For fourth orbit z is equal to 1, n is equal to 4, then energy of fourth orbit can be written as minus 13.6 divided by 4 square is 16. It would be minus 0.85 electron volt. Similarly for fifth orbit z is equal to 1, n is equal to 5, then energy in the fifth orbit is equals to minus 13.6 upon 25, which would be equal to minus 0.54 electron volt. Next for sixth orbit z is equal to 1 and n is equal to 6, then energy for sixth orbit is equal to minus 13.6 upon 36, which would be minus 0.37 electron volt. So in this way we can find out for 6 orbits their energy levels also we can find out. Next, wave number. So what is wave number? Wave number is the number of waves per unit length. It is the number of waves per unit length. That is, wave number can be written as wave number is equal to number of waves upon unit length. So what is this here? Wave number means whenever electron jumps from higher energy orbit to the lower energy orbit, it emits the energy in the form of photons. And we know that photons have dual nature. It has a particle nature as well as a wave nature. And in 1 meter length or per unit length, how many number of waves will be produced in that photon when it is traveling? That is called wave number here. And it is also called as Balmer formula. Okay. For one wavelength, if you consider wavelength as lambda, then wave number can be given by 1 by lambda. So wave number is defined as the reciprocal of the wavelength. So we can define here. Yes. So after wave number, there is a derivation which is very important for 5 marks. Expression for frequency of radiation emitted by the electron when it takes transition from higher energy level to lower energy level in an atom by assuming the expression for energy of an electron in nth orbit. Okay. So it is also called as Balmer formula, right? It is also called as Balmer formula. To derive this equation, we have to consider the energy of an electron in nth Bohr orbit is given by, that is just we have derived in the last page. So that is En is equal to minus mz square e raised to 4 8 epsilon naught square n square h square, where m is the mass of an electron, E is the charge of an electron, and epsilon naught is the absolute permittivity, h is the Planck's constant, where n is the integer number like 1 2 3 and so on, where E is the energy of an electron. Now let us assume there are 2 orbits are there now. This is first orbit level, that is called n1, second orbit is called n2, and energy of the first orbit is how much? En1, and energy of the second orbit is En2. Correct? Now when electron jumps from higher energy orbit to lower energy orbit, among these two, which one is a higher energy orbit? Higher energy orbit is nothing but En2 is a higher energy orbit and En1 is a lower energy orbit. Why? Because in second orbit there are more numbers. If there are more numbers, energy is also more, because energy is directly proportional to the electron. From the equation we can write. Then electron jump from higher energy orbit to lower energy orbit. Correct? So it emits an energy which is equal to E, and it can be given by E is equal to h into nu, where h is called Planck's constant and nu is called frequency of radiated energy. Correct? Now from Bohr's postulate, that is third postulate, Bohr's third postulate, what it says? When electron jumps from higher energy level to the lower energy level, the energy E is equals to h nu, right? And here En1 or expression can be given by what? E is that energy difference is equal to, or the emitted radiation energy is equal to difference in the energy orbits, En1 En2 minus En1. I am writing here En2 minus En1 because energy of the second orbit is greater than the energy of the first orbit. Therefore now E is equal to h nu, we know that. What is En1? En1 can be given by minus m e raised to 4 z square upon 8 epsilon naught square n1 square and h square. Similarly, En2 can be written as minus m e raised to 4 z square upon 8 epsilon naught square n2 square h square. Correct? Then substitute all these 2 and 3 value in this equation. Correct? Now what happens? That is E equal to h nu means h nu, which is equals to En2, right? En2 means which one? This one, that is minus m e raised to 4 z square upon 8 epsilon naught square n2 square h square minus of minus. This is minus this equation, that is m e raised to 4 z square upon 8 epsilon naught square n1 square h square. Now this minus into minus plus, and I am going to take common here. M e raised to 4 z square 8 epsilon naught square h square is a common, where only difference is n2 and n1. I will separate them. Then I will take here minus m e raised to 4 z square upon 8 epsilon naught square h square common. So what is remaining here? Here 1 by n2 square remains. So here minus of my plus minus of minus plus it becomes, right? Here in minus into minus plus it is there. So I can take here 1 by n1 square. Now when I take this minus inside, m e raised to 4 z square upon 8 epsilon naught square h square. When I take this minus inside, it becomes minus into plus minus, minus into minus plus 1 by n1 square, 1 by n1 square. So minus 1 by n2 square. Okay, this is h nu. So here I can write, instead of nu, I can write c by lambda, right? So because frequency is given by c by lambda. Here I want 1 by lambda, which is equals to m e raised to 4 z square upon 8 epsilon naught square. So h into c here will come here, h c into h square. Here remaining 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. Correct? So 1 by lambda can be given by, 1 by lambda is given by wave number, which is 1 by lambda, which is equal to, from this equation we can write m e raised to 4 z square upon 8 epsilon naught square h into h square h cube into c, where c is the speed of light, and the remaining terms are 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. So this is called wave number. This wave number can be written as, so we know the value of mass of an electron, charge of an electron, and absolute permittivity, Planck's constant, speed of light is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. After substitution of all those values, we'll get one number that is called 1.097 into 10 to the power of 7, 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. After substitution of all these value except z, because if you consider for a hydrogen atom, z is equal to 1, and remaining all are constant values. When you substitute, you will get this value. Then we can rearrange this one. Wave number is equal to, I will call this constant as Rydberg constant R into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. This is also called as Balmer formula.